Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for once again joining me. Today we're hanging out, tea time. We're having some misty morning and focus, but today is a live hangout. We don't do these very often, but I just did one a couple of days ago and I really enjoyed it. And a lot of people said, hey, can we do this again? I'm like, yeah, why not? So it is Friday. I used to do a recap on Friday, like a fun Friday. It was kind of like a week in review, what we would do on Friday, and I wanted to do that today with you guys before the weekend. So I'm glad you're here hanging out with me. I have someone else with me, which is kind of nice. This wonderful, wonderful chap, right, Stuart? So I'm going to have you just introduce yourself before we get into kind of the conversation today. So kind of, I guess, tell everyone who you are, what you do, and so on and so forth.
Oh, my name's Stuart Wood. I am a macro photographer and YouTube content creator from the UK, and I pretty much just ride his ass all the time on Discord. How many times have I said when we're doing a live again?
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it is absolutely true. I mean, I'm glad that I'm glad that we can get together and do this because I
It's
know
the only
we,
way I can get live.
I know I've been trying to get onto your show forever. You just won't have me. I don't know what it is. You just don't like me. I don't know. So
It's your bad looks. That's what it is.
that's, see, I knew it. I knew it, Stuart. I knew it. But we did a live many moons ago, and we were doing, we showed off a lot of your work, a lot of your macro photography, which is absolutely brilliant. And if you would sometime during this conversation put a link maybe to your Instagram or to any of that work in the little pop out there, the chat window, that would be awesome so that everyone can take a look at your stuff because he does a lot of like jumping spiders and a lot of things that you would normally see out in your backyard, let's say in a garden. And it's just unbelievably beautiful stuff. Beautiful. So yeah, definitely you have to check that out. So today is going to be kind of like that tech photo video day where it's like kind of everything. We're just going to chat about a bunch of things. A couple of things that really got people happy and angry at the same time. Number one was the Adobe thing that happened that I reported on, where Adobe is opting people in without them knowing about it to basically, I don't know, steal their intellectual property. I mean, obviously you still own it, but they're using it for their AI. That was one thing. Another thing, Panny over there, Panasonic came out with that S5 II, which is really quite interesting because now all of a sudden, we have something that, never had before, a Panasonic that would actually autofocus. And I talked about that,
the way you say it is so funny. Panasonic actually autofocus.
Yeah, it's and actually holds focus. I
We're
mean,
we are not dishing on Panasonic. We're actually happy that this has happened.
I'm like ecstatic. I really am
Yeah,
because I
definitely.
like so I am not a fanboy for any company. I shoot Canon for my professional photography. I shoot Hasselblad for some fashion work and some product work. I should shoot the Panasonic EVA 1 as well as the Sony FX6 and 9 on set on location for episodic TV. Right now I'm shooting on a Sony. So it's like I have everything. I don't really care. I'm pretty much agnostic. It
You're
doesn't make a
similar to
difference to
me,
me.
aren't you? You use the tools that do the job.
Exactly.
Simple as that. I
It
mean,
doesn't make a
I
difference.
use Canon, but that just happens to the camera I had when I started the channel.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's as simple as it gets, And as well that once you get into a system, you start buying lenses, you kind of stick with that system because you don't want to replace your lenses.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not a Canon fanboy. I call them out all the time. I do.
No,
In
you
fact, they
have
won't
to.
even send me an RF 100mm for review. I think because probably to tell the truth. Yeah.
Did they send you anything? Have you gotten
No,
anything from Canon?
nothing,
No.
nothing.
Wow. I
I
know
didn't
you
like
were
their practice. I mean, I don't know if you know this. Sorry for talking to you. I don't know if you know this, but when they released the RF 100mm, which is their new macro lens, it's around 1,500. To make it look better, they increased the price of the old EF version to bring the EF version in line with the price of the RF version.
uh-huh.
You know, I didn't like that. I didn't like that one bit. I was like, that's wrong. You know.
Yeah, it's that's
But
just
yeah,
it's kind of
but it's like a love-hate relationship. You know, I do love Canon, but sometimes they do things that are just stupid. But
yeah. I mean,
that could be
you
saying for
were
most companies, couldn't it?
yeah, you were doing a lot of reviews on like wasn't it the
Laura.
I think it is Laowa product. You were
Yeah.
doing a lot of their stuff, and I remember you were saying the last time we spoke that the Laowa lenses were so good. You're wondering what was going to happen with the 100 on the Canon side, and then
Mm,
but I guess they never sent it to you, so well, you can't do a comparison contrast or an A/B kind of comparison test
I
between
can't.
the
I mean,
two,
people
which
do
kind of
ask me.
sucks. I mean,
Yeah.
I was looking forward to that.
Yeah. It's still going to happen, but I've got to buy it myself, basically.
Yeah, no. Well, let me say real
Like we
quick.
was talking just before the
Uh
show,
huh.
there's some stuff going on in the background, but once all that stuff gone, I might just buy it, put it side by
Just yeah,
side,
just grab
give
it. I
my
mean,
opinions, and
I'm
then
sure it's going to
the
be a
feedback is
fantastic lens. It'll
not
be
sell it
kind of
on.
good. It'll be good for you to be able to do that comparison between the Lao and the Canon because a lot of people will be interested in it. Do we
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
the increased price for the Canon, or do you go with the Lao, which is a
hmm
third party, or what do we do? I know it was a
I mean,
lot. There was a lot of conversation about Canon and how like Sony will allow third parties to create lenses for them, and the lenses can be
yeah.
not only MF but they can also be AF, so manual focus as well as autofocus. Whereas the RF glass that Canon came up with, it's like strictly only them you can purchase from. And then any
Mm.
company was to put out an autofocusing RF lens will get sued. So a lot of the third parties are just putting out manual focus lenses for Canon. They need to fix that. But I understand that it's a new lineup. So Canon wants to make the absolute
Yeah.
lion's share of the monies until, they
I
feel.
suspect they'll open it up once Canon's got their lenses out. That's when I suspect they'll
You
probably
think
open it up
so?
then. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that wouldn't be good. That
Well,
would be good. So let me say
I mean,
hello. Let me say hello to
sorry.
Peter. No, that's all right. Let me say
Yep.
hello to Peter in the chat as well as Country Soldier. We have Emma in there. How you doing? Legendary Tron. That's an awesome name. The Legendary.
Uh,
All right. That is cool. Unbroken, of
have you seen
course,
what
and we got Joe over there.
Unbroken's put in?
Yeah. What is the?
Read what Unbroken's put in. I think
Let
that's
me
funny.
see. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
And if you were able to find a Sasquatch, right, in the wild and you had a Panasonic, it wouldn't have made a shit of a difference because you wouldn't have captured it in focus anyways, right? So, yeah. It's no,
Yeah.
it's amazing to me that they finally did this. So you know what? Instead of talking about Adobe first, let's talk about the Panasonic and the S5 II. So I mean, like I said, we've shot with the S5, we shot with the S1, we shoot with the FX3, the FX6, FX9. This is in studio for TV, but the reason why one of the studios that I work with, went from the Panasonic EVA 1s to the Sony FX6 as well as the FX9s is due to the autofocus. Because the EVA 1s, you would have to always have a cam op behind the camera at all times during an interview. You have a 4 or 5 cameras, let's say, set up. There had to be a camera op all the time, and besides the wide shot. And even that, it's kind of good to have someone in case something gets kind of funky. But the bottom line here is everything was manual focus, so everyone has to pull stuff because Panasonic is just crap when it comes to autofocus. Well, Sony changed everything. You lock into those eyes from, let's say, an OTS, like an over-the-shoulder type of shot, and you lock those in. You're not going to see the damn thing go from OTS locked in on eyeballs, then lock into the backside of someone's hair, and then back to eyeball. You're not going to see any of that crap. Whereas with Panasonic, you would. So now this is a big change. I want to see this S5 II hybrid system, as they call it, which would be like a dual pixel AF or a hybrid where it has contrast detect and phase detect combined in two together. I want to see that in their upper end platforms also, like the EVAs and all the rest of the
I
stuff, because that would be
I
sweet.
want to see independent reviewers get their hands on it first, because I know for a fact the people that did the reviews were cherry picked.
Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of this stuff. But you know, we all know it. If you see
Also,
anyone that has flown out to a specific spot to review something, just don't even watch the review because it's not a review. It's a
mm,
soft sell. It's a paid promotion. It's a paid advertisement. No matter
it's a
how you look
showcase.
at it. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, I have a problem a lot with the industry as a whole as of late, and that's why I don't cover the photo as much as I used to. I still do photo, video, and tech, but unless it's something really good and juicy, I just won't. Like if a new lens comes out, I don't give a crap because there's enough lenses. I mean, yes, if there's something
Mm,
fantastic that hasn't been there before, like if they came out, like perfect example, if they come out with like a tilt shift RF glass or something that's a, like a specialty lens, I'll probably cover it because that's really big. Let's say if you're shooting real estate or something, a lot of people love a tilt shift lens. They don't have to do any, massaging of the pixels in post production to be able to get things lined up. But unless it's something like that, I don't really care. It's just more of the same, more and more. And you only need like, if you have 3 really good lenses, 4 good lenses, you're pretty much set. You can do just about anything. Of course, if there's something specific that you want to do, you might need a specialty piece of glass. But for the
yeah.
most part, I mean, you can get away with a nice prime, a 24 to 70 to 70 to 200, maybe a macro lens, something wide, maybe, and you're pretty much good, call it good at that point. So I
Mm.
cannot, that's why on the channel, there's so many channels where you see review after review after review, this new lens and that new lens and this new,
And
I
the,
just
the
can't
other
do
thing
it.
as well that bugs me is the channels that do reviews within a day or so of receiving the product
Right. Yeah,
can't
yeah,
do that. It's like
yeah.
no,
And then what I,
you've got to have enough, you've got to have enough time to break it, you know.
at least, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the thing is too is the way they have the NDAs set up.
Mm,
I mean, I don't know if you guys understand how this all works. Anyways, so you end up if you're going to do a review on something, you sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure form, to say, okay, you're going to have this camera for 3 days, for 5 days, whatever. You're going to return it, or you can have it. Depends on what the company is, and then you can release your video on this day.
yeah.
The friggin' problem is that everyone releases their video. Everyone releases their video on that day. So now it's like, okay, so you're just like another one of the crowd that people are going to listen to or watch. It's like there's nothing special there. So it
Yeah.
makes it really, really hard. And every once in a while, you'll see someone big, maybe like a Peter
Yeah.
McKinnon or someone that will get something before everyone else and be able to release
Hmm.
that like a day early. I mean, that's big shit. I mean, that's not easy to get from these companies, period. I mean, you need to have 1 million followers plus to be able to
Yeah.
get that. So, but yeah, I mean, if you watch any review and someone has flown somewhere to do this review and put up in a hotel and wined and dined, just don't even, I wouldn't even, honestly, I wouldn't even watch it because I don't give a crap. I would rather watch just, Tom, Dick, and Harry there that just picked up the camera and did, it's like, hey, I played with this for a while and this is what I came up with. That's a hell of a lot more
Mm,
helpful to me.
yeah.
So, but
But I'm
anyways, what do you
very
think? Give me
keen.
your thoughts on this
Well,
S5 II. I want to hear what do you think about it?
I'll be keeping my eyes on it, that's for sure, because there's a few things in it that are pretty cool things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Autofocus is an absolute must for me because when I'm doing my outdoor videos, I'm not filming. The wife is filming, and she'll tell you herself she's not a videographer. She doesn't know composition and all that stuff.
Right.
I set the settings up in the camera in the custom settings 1, 2, and 3, and depending on what we're filming, I'll just say switch to C1, switch to C2, like that. Let the autofocus focus on me. And what irritates me is when you're doing a segment, I'm concentrating on photographing an insect that's running around a flower. I've got to get it done quickly because if I
Right.
don't get it done quickly, he's gone. I need to rely on the camera to do the job. Now, the Canon I have, you've got one as well, the EOS R, haven't you? Have you tried the
Yes.
grass autofocus on it? Because that's pretty damn good.
The
It'll
what?
be
What is
locked
it?
onto
Which
your
one is
eye.
it?
Grass
Oh,
autofocus.
okay.
It's
No.
it's locked onto your eye, then all of a sudden it'll focus on a piece of grass down here somewhere. And I
You know
mean,
what? I'm
it's
gonna have to look
amazing
for
tech.
that feature. It's. I feel like there is a lot of that's going. Okay, so a lot of these camera manufacturers are doing all of this crazy ass crap where they have like literally just, animal autofocus,
Mm.
dog autofocus, chimpanzee autofocus, alien spacecraft auto. They have all of these auto, and what it is basically it's AI, right? It's artificial intelligence, it's machine learning, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't make a difference. And they're trying to get an understanding of what the camera is seeing, and then focus on what they think it should be focusing on. And that's just really difficult. I mean, some of them are getting it well. Like, I think Sony has got this, like, I mean, like, I'll give you an example. So right now I'm shooting on a Sony, right? If I turn this way, just literally like an inch, so my nose is pointing this way, right? It locks onto this eye. I can see the square, right? If I turn an inch that way, boom, just like that, it's now locking in onto this eye.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just unfreaking believable. That's exactly what it should do. What that means is, and it's pretty big, it's complex. What that means is not only it understands that it needs to focus in on my eyes, not on my face. I'm not doing a product shot where the product is here. It's still locking in on my eyes, even though this is here. But I can change this to product shot and then it'll lock in over here. Anyways, but what it's doing is it's saying, yes, I need to lock into the eyes, but three-dimensionally, it's figuring out and calculating the distance between the eyes. So as soon as I turn over, this distance becomes closer than this one, and the same goes this way, and it locks into the closer one. Are you kidding me? I mean, and this is the stuff, this is the stuff that I think is just amazing. And while Canon is really, really good, I still think Sony has it in spades. I mean, it does not. I mean, just like I said with the FX3 or the FX6, FX9 that we use, that is just, I mean, every once in a while it loses its damn mind, but you can count it on one hand, like in a month's time with like multiple interviews and all kinds of stuff, it might lose, like, it's just so rare. And at that point, you switch over to different cam C, cam D, whatever, and you're good in
I mean,
edit.
as much as we moan, they're all just getting better. I mean, I know for a fact my hat throws the Canon off, particularly
Right.
if I'm in a dark scene, it can't see my eyes. But again, I'm on an EOS which is several years old now, so whether an R5 would get thrown off is another question. I don't know because I haven't got one.
Stop being so damn salty.
Oh, I'm salty, all right, I tell you. But anyway, the other thing that caught my eye about it, and they've done this on other cameras, but yeah, when the autofocus doesn't work, it's simply I don't want it, so you
Right.
don't even look. But the other thing that caught my eye was the full frame readout. That's
Yeah.
from when I'm talking about. I mean, it might not necessarily something you would use because you're an experienced videographer, but when you put it into the hands of someone who's not experienced, the framing is never always
Right.
perfect. So now having a full frame readout, so it's not in 16:9, it's actually in the full frame readout. You're able to recompose now in post. So if the wife gets it slightly wrong on the composition, I can just slightly correct it without losing any quality. Which that for me that's awesome.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean? There's a
No,
little
I
bit
know.
of freedom there. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
No,
I
it's
want
true. It's
I want
true.
to punch into the right or the left a little bit. Like I
Yeah.
said, she's not a videographer.
Yeah, and you can.
So
And the
she
other
wouldn't have
thing
frame
also is
rates or anything
recording
like
in
that.
4K is a big thing. People ask me
Yes.
like, "Hey, do you record in 1080p or 4K?" If I'm doing
4K all
something
the way.
that's very important, right? I'll record in 4K. And even though I never provide the output in 4K for YouTube because I think it's useless. It's not needed. Number one, no one's watching it. Number two, it's just stupid all around. The editing is harder on the machine. It takes longer. It's just a whole bunch of stuff. But the thing is, I do it anyways, but internally so that I can punch in and things don't get wonky. You don't get like pixelated or anything. So that's really about it. And just like you said, if your wife kind of doesn't get it just right and you want to move it, well, you got like 20-30%
Yeah.
that you can play around with without having to worry about any type of loss of pixels, which is great. I have to say, Unbroken says here that he's waiting for Bigfoot AI autofocus, and I want to see that
That's
too.
already out though, isn't it?
Yeah, I would like to see that too. I think it might be.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
Alien
'cause
Autofocus and
all,
Flying
all you'll get
Saucer.
is a brown little patch run across your screen that's out of focus.
That's right. Unless
Or
you're
it's
using an
so far
S5
away,
II.
it's a little black dot on the hill.
Yeah, I see
That's
those all
what
the
will work.
time. Yeah. Richard Cruz says if you don't make honest reviews, they will eventually be revealed
Yeah, true.
and they lose their credibility. I think that the people who went there made a frank and honest review. So I think that's great. I mean, there's a few of the reviews that I do feel that they came across as being, as you call them, frank and honest. And I mean, doing this for as many years as I have, I mean, I can still feel you know, kind of the undertones, the underpinnings to it. And,
Mm.
you know, it's like the way they do it is they'll give 90% positive, 10% negative, or 95% positive, 5% negative to try to feel balanced, even though it's not.
Yeah.
And if you really look for it and listen to it, you'll see it in there. And they
Hmm.
don't have a choice. The bottom line is they don't have a choice. Just think, if a company is paying you to go and do a review and they're flying you and it's costing them thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, if you put out something that is not, I wouldn't even say stellar, but at least positive, they're not going to ask you back again. Apple did
Yeah.
this forever. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this. They would like invite people to the Apple events. Let's call them people with badges like myself, because I used to do coverage with Trevor Current for Digital Photography Cafe for a decade plus. And they would only invite press and give press credentials, even though we had press credentials for everywhere. They would only give you press credentials if they knew you and they knew your work is going to be on a positive light. Okay?
Hmm.
It's positive at all times. If not, guess what? You don't get in. And that's it. That's just the way it is. They are really tight. And the same thing happens with these companies. I mean, they're paying a lot of money for this. They cannot have someone with 1 million followers say something just crappy about their new product, because that's going to be extremely detrimental to them. So, I mean,
Yeah,
and I understand it.
yeah, I've had several companies that blank me now because I tell the truth.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to name names, obviously, because of
Yeah.
legal reasons. But they send me stuff for review. I do a review. They didn't like the video and never spoke to me again.
Oh my God. Really?
There's going to be another one today when the video's up today, I think.
My God.
I'm not going to say what it is, but I've got a product review going out today. I'll shit all over that thing.
Did you? Well, I mean,
Yeah,
if
but
it,
it's the honest truth. It
yeah,
is the honest
and
truth.
you know, and
You know what I mean?
hopefully they learn from it and they fix the problems
Hopefully.
that they have, and
But
that's
from my experience, they don't bother. They just cut you off and just send it to the people that will give it favourable reviews,
that's
because
and that's
that's
the
how it
problem.
works.
I just want to
Same
say,
as
who
I don't
else?
know if you've ever had the emails from people that sell on Amazon, where yeah.
Oh
So
my
I'll
God.
run it through quickly. I'm actually going to do a dedicated video next time this happens. But basically, you'll get an email from someone who's they haven't even watched your channel, okay? Because
Yeah.
they get your name wrong, they don't know what your channel is about. They send you something that is 90% the time has nothing to do with the channel that you're running. So, like a Hoover, for instance. Or one I got
Yeah.
offered to review was a foot massager. I'm like, yeah, but sometimes the 10% get it right. It's a photo-related product
Right.
that they send you, and they go for the whole rigmarole of telling you what it is. It'd be great to get this item into your hand so you can do a review and all that stuff. And then you go, okay, yeah, this sounds interesting. I'll take a look.
Right.
They then send you a link to their Amazon shop and say you need to purchase the item so that you come up as a valid purchaser of that item. And then underneath that, they'll say if you give a 5-star review, then you get your money back.
Yeah. So luckily, I have not had any crap like that, because I would tell
Oh
them
yeah.
to go pound sand pretty quickly.
Oh, I do.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just that shit ain't gonna, that's not gonna go over. I mean, honestly, you'll see me do reviews on this channel on product that people send to me. The majority of the time, I won't review it unless it's, you know, something that I really think that the viewers are going to want. Now, I might
Yeah.
do like some type of brand awareness and be like, you know, hey, check this out, this is my new book, and I read this and I thought it was pretty good. If you want to go and check it out, and that's it. I'm not going to go into a dissertation or a synopsis of the book or of one of the products, like, and say, hey, this, that, or the other thing, unless it's something that I feel that is worthy and that people are going to want. Because if not, it's just a waste of my time. There's no
Yeah,
reason to
yeah.
make, stuff just to make it.
We kind of gone off a tangent, but getting back to the camera.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'll tell you my experience
Yeah, go
with
ahead. I want to hear it.
videos. Now, I watched Joel Dundun's video.
Right.
He just breaks it right down, and I'll be honest with you, 95% of the stuff my wife won't understand. She doesn't understand frame rates, codecs, and all that stuff. I do.
Right.
So I got my little tick list that I would want out of a new camera, and I turned around to her and I said to her, I put it into words that she can understand. So I said to her, how would you like a camera that you haven't got to be 100% accurate on your framing, the autofocus works on it, you don't need a field monitor, and you don't need a stabilizer, and it's this big? And she's like, yeah. You know what I mean? Because the one thing she hates, because I run around, if you're chasing insects, let's say you're doing a dragonfly video, I'm chasing around looking for dragonflies. She has to use a tripod, and the one thing she hates is picking it up, moving it to another place, putting it down, get the framing right. Oh, he's moved again. Pick it up again, move it to another place, put it. And it's
no, absolutely.
I mean, at some point she sits there and goes, "Shut! Keep still for 5 minutes." You know what I mean?
Well, at least she's a good sport and works with you.
Exactly.
So
I said to her, how would you like, you don't need a tripod because it's got the stabilized sensor and the lens.
Right.
You don't need a field monitor because it records. I think it's his 10-bit internal. Literally, she just got the camera. So I said, get a camera cage for it. So she's got a couple of handles to make it a little bit more comfortable to hold.
Right.
And she's good to go. And we've got to remember, we're talking about YouTube. We're not talking about a Netflix documentary. We're talking about YouTube.
Right.
And most people ain't going to care what it's been recorded on. What my thought is how easy is it for her to get the shot?
Yeah.
And the easiest shot I can think of is me doing what I do without having to worry about how she got the shot.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And like I said, the newer cameras that are coming out, not necessarily just Panasonic, but the new ones from Canon, the Sony FX3, she absolutely loves the look of that one.
No,
and I said to her, eventually we'll upgrade the cameras and get it to a point where she can literally just point and shoot, run and gun, as they call it.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's ideal. Now, so if you guys don't know about this, the Panasonic, I have the specs here. Let me see if I can swap over to my screen so you can see this. Does that work? I think it works. You guys can see that, maybe? Yes, yes. So it's the S5 Mark II. You figure it's $2,000. The S5 Mark II X is $2,200. Now, full frame, 24.2 megapixel sensor or 96 megapixel high resolution mode, 5-axis in-body image stabilization, 779 points of phase. This is the important one. Phase hybrid AF, or as what we call it, dual pixel AF in Canon speak. So 9 frames per second mechanical shutter, 30 frames per second electronic shutter, 4K, C4K, 60p, then also 6K, 30p. That's fantastic. That's great to be able to then downgrade it to 4K or even 1080. All of that extra real estate is appreciated. Also, ProRes. So if you're on a Mac, let's say, you want to go and it just dumps straight in ProRes, you can do that, which is awesome. And the X does have the ability to live stream, to do all of your live right from the camera itself.
They said for an extra $200 you get in a load more video features, and I think the X does raw video as well, if I remember right.
Yep, raw video. It has the dual SD cards, so I consider this a professional camera, and of course your L-mount Alliance nonsense that we talk about.
Let's just remind them about the price again, though.
Yeah, I mean, what, $2,000, right?
Yeah, $2,000 for all that. That's in my price range.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not bad. And the thing is this. That price is what they used to sell like a GH6 for. Like, how much is a GH6, for example? Let me flip over to like B&H or somewhere, and let me see. Panasonic GH6. Let me see what the current going rate is for that. There you go. So Panasonic GH6 from the right from B&H, $1,897.99. Let me bring this up just so you can see it. I'm not shitting you guys. You get like a camera bag or something. I mean, look at this. I mean, look at this. Is this craziness, right? And what do you get? Like a 64? This isn't even a good card, whatever. This is what you get. This is this kit for almost $2,000. I mean, I will take
Yeah.
this camera right here all day long. This S5 II. I mean, literally for it's like a couple of bucks difference. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, look at this.
Mm.
The price is, I think the price is right, to be completely honest with you. I think the price is right. What you're getting is kind of worth it, in my personal
Yeah.
opinion, considering you're getting full frame, you're getting all the rest of the stuff, and now autofocus is working pretty well. I have a feeling that the autofocus will get better over time as they fix the algorithm behind it.
Yeah.
But that will be, at this point, now that it does have hybrid autofocus, which has contrast detect and phase detect, I think that now it's just a software game. Now they just need to tweak it and get it right and, fiddle with it and just really tighten things up. Whereas in the past, Panasonic has always been the company that would just lie to you. They would say, professional photographers only need micro four thirds sensors. We will never make a full frame sensor. That was bullshit, right? And I talked to them about that for literally a decade, and they would lie to me. And so then now they have a full frame. Or they would say, contrast detect is enough. You do not need phase detect autofocus. And the contrast detect that we have now, we have a stronger processor to be able to have this contrast detect happen quicker, and you don't need anything else. That is more than enough. And if you're having a problem with it, you just don't know how to set it up properly. We'll give you a tech page to show you how. It's like, no, it doesn't work, right? But that's how they always were.
Yeah.
They were so like just stuffed shirt. Just they would never want to budge. They would just. It's one of those things that, like, if someone tells me, look, you're wrong, I'm like, okay, so why am I wrong? Because I really would rather be wrong than right, because if I'm wrong, that means I'm going to learn something. These people don't want to learn jack, okay? They just do the same shit over and over and over, no matter if someone's been in the industry for 20 plus years and saying, listen, everyone that I speak to, tens of thousands of people say the same damn thing. Your autofocus sucks, and we want a larger sensor. No, neither of those things we're going to touch. Well, guess what? Now, 2023, that has all been fixed. We're seeing, obviously, last year, before we have, the larger, we have the S1, the S5, we have the original ones when we finally see full frame, and now we actually see, a quote-unquote hybrid autofocus, contrast
Yeah.
and phase detect. So, kudos to
But
them.
yeah.
I'm glad they
So
finally get it.
getting back to the wife and her filming.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my trusty EOS R. Every video I record is on this camera. Okay, it has a 35mm lens that's been put on the camera and never been removed. So
Right.
I don't need to swap lenses. So that opens me up for being able to have a different format of video camera than what my stills camera is. Now I've been looking into things, as you do. You always look into things. I can get a grand trade-in for that, which means I've only got to pay it £1,000 if I want this new camera.
Wow.
Yeah? And I've got to look at the reviews, because if the autofocus isn't sticky as all the others out there on the market, it doesn't matter, because this one isn't anyway. There's a little box that goes around my head, and every time that moves off, the wife will go, hold on a second, we'll cut in some B-roll, it refocuses. What will be a deal breaker is if it has micro stutters in the focus.
Right.
That is just irritating.
Yeah,
If it does that, oh no. But if it doesn't,
yeah.
it's going on my shopping list, because we are in the market of upgrading this camera.
I think it's good.
So
I think
trade
it's good.
in.
Let's jump into. We got two questions in here, or two comments I want to hit on, and then I want to get into this whole Adobe thing, because that's another just a mess. Let me see. Enbit says, ever took a Starlink cable and cut it to make an Ethernet bulkhead pass-through. I have not. Now, I have taken the Starlink Ethernet box, the little Ethernet adapter, and took that all apart to see what makes it tick and found out where there was problems. I have a video on that, so if you want to check that out, take a look at my Starlink playlist. There's about, I think there's 110 videos in there now or something. There's a bunch. So check that out. I did do a breakdown of that to find out what was going on with that. That's not that, hopefully that helps. But no, I have not broken down the cables. These cables are simply Cat6 cables, if you didn't know, with prioritized? No. What is B? Something. Anyways, their own connectors, some shit like that. But their own
Did
connector.
you just have a brain fart?
I'm rebooting. I'm rebooting right now with like a blue screen of death. No, but it was the way they do it is it's just like a Cat5 cable, and they have their own ends at the end that they custom fit on there. But I think that the problem with these heating issues and the cables actually melting and whatnot, I think it's the ends where the problem is. The Cat6 can hold those higher amp loads. In my video that I did recently, I talked about volts. It was actually watts. I misspoke, as I do that all the time. My ADD shit kind of kicks in. But, on these Hangouts, we can actually talk, right? So, but, for the most part, it's those ends, I think, that's going bad. Also, Arnie says, did you see Tesla drop the price of the Model Y LR to $45,190 after tax credit? This is, yeah, it's more than 10 credit. So this is pretty big. I noticed that Tesla stock, I was going to, I don't talk about stock too much in here. I might start doing some stock things. I'm going to do some stock with my son. I'll probably bring him on board because I want to get him into stock. I've been doing stock for many, many years. And anyways, I was going to pick up some extra Tesla stock when it finally went down to like 108 or something because it was a good price. You're not getting stock advice from me. I'm just telling you what I do.
What's it on at the moment? I can't check.
I'm not sure what it is. I don't know. I probably can check on the phone, whatever. Anyone know in the chat what Tesla is at today, Friday the 13th? Let me know.
Do you think it'll go back up again, though?
Did I just say it's Friday the 13th? It is. Holy shit. It is Friday the 13th. I think, no, it will go back up. But anyway, so, he keeps on selling his stock. And every time he sells stock, people get nervous and then they start selling Tesla stock. I mean, he needs it because, look, he just bought Twitter for $44 billion or whatever the hell he did. So there's a lot of things going on in his life that he needs this little, let's say, cash infusion. So that's why he's selling some of his stock. Is this manufacturer going anywhere? No, I think it's very strong and it's just going to go, further up. But as he has stated in the past, Tesla, the Neuralink, all of these things. None of his or SpaceX. Nothing is the same as Starlink. Starlink is his let's say child that makes him a ton of money. He's like that NBA star that he's raising, that is going to eventually pay the bills. So Starlink is one of those things that is a really big deal for him, and that's where he's putting a lot of his effort and concentration into. So that's pretty cool. I mean, $45,000 for an EV, that's cool. I'm not really into EVs. I originally built, muscle cars, and then finally I used to build the Jap cars. So, I like gas. I like the smell of fuel. I like the smell of high octane. I like it. So, but EV is cool, don't get me wrong. I think I might do some solar stuff on the channel if people want to see it. It would be kind of fun for me to do because I like all that stuff. I'm a tech guy, right? The other thing here is, let me see. Have you done any research on EVF in comparison to, or as far as eye health and the older OVF? So you got EVF and OVF. If you guys don't know, an EVF is an electronic viewfinder, and OVF is what you would see on the old DSLRs where you're looking out of the lens itself. So in EVF, you actually have a tiny screen stuck to your eye like this. So how does that hurt, eye health? I'm sure it's not damn good for you. But then also, if you go and look into the sun like stupid people do, with their camera, now all of a sudden you just burned out your retina. So on an old OVF, people do stupid stuff. So or like they're videoing or they're taking photos of like arc welding or something like that, and they're burning the. So there's positives and benefits to everything. I like OVF because what you see out there is what there is, but what you take the picture of once you finally fire that. you don't know what you're going to get unless you're a professional and you know how to set everything up. Whereas with an EVF, it's kind of like what you see is what you get. All of the niceties, all of the LUTs, all of the processing is already done. So when you look at it, when you snap that shot, exactly what you see is what you capture. But for me, I don't like it, even though it's a good learning tool, don't get me wrong, I don't like it because I still feel the flicker. Even though they say, oh, there's no blackout, there's no nothing, my eye still doesn't feel comfortable to look through. Even though I have these cameras, I don't like them as much as an OVF. So as far as eye health, I don't really know, but I do like the OVF better.
I prefer the EVF.
Do you?
Personally.
There you go. You see?
Yeah.
And especially for you doing macro, it's very easy for you to take something, like flip it up, put it on the floor and see what you're doing and then just like click your autofocus spot. I mean,
One of the main
it,
things that I like the EVF for is seeing the image after you've taken it. So I don't have to chimp to see, is it correct? Is the exposure correct?
Right.
Is the focusing correct? I can see it directly in the EVF, which means with a mirrorless camera, I can do, say, a 10 to 20 image stack without taking my eye off the ball.
Right.
Just keep going because I can see that image in
Yeah.
the EVF.
No, absolutely.
It's very nice for that. It really is.
Country Soldier says, could two Starlink cables be joined together for more than 150 feet? Now, they only sell 150-foot cables, and the reason they do that is because as you increase the number of feet, the amount of amperage is going to go up to be able to push the same amount of signal to the end, and you're going to be burning these things up. So probably not. I would ask them for a longer cable because number one, you're not going to have that end, their own special end. Number one. And then even if you do and join them together and somehow do a good solder job and not something that's just a mess, I wouldn't do it personally. Also, Unbroken says he's still shelling out for the Ukraine despite, with Lockheed and the billions and and the government and the Mac and, the whole MIC thing and the whole, So he's still spending a lot of money on sending more antennas. I think he sent another 20,000 antennas to the Ukraine or whatever. So he's spending a lot of money there. But, the way I look at it is, not choosing one side or another side. I just think it's kind of nice to see someone that has more money than God decide to actually, put his money kind of where his mouth is and help people. I don't really care, like I said, as far as, I don't think war is good no matter who's at war. I think both sides suffer. And, not just the winner or loser, both sides suffer, and they suffer dearly. So, seeing that he's actually, whereas a lot of these just billionaires that you see, the Googles and the Amazons and all these people, they'll talk a lot of crap, but when it comes to actually doing something, they'll do this much when it's time for tax season, and that's about it. Okay, it's all about a write-off or something. It's just a bunch of crap. So I have to give him credit for doing that. What else do we have here? We got a good morning from KD8. Welcome. Also, let me see. Unbroken says, New Age people doing suns. Exactly. Let's see. What is your editing computer? So right now I'm using a Ryzen. I believe in a lot of my videos, I put at the bottom of the description all of the parts that I'm currently using. So I'm using a Ryzen setup with like a 1070 or 1080 card. I'm going to be doing an update to this probably this year. So hang in there for that. I have a 34-inch monitor because I like a really long timeline for doing editing because I do a lot of editing, even though it's not just editing for the show here, but I do a lot of other editing. So I like that longer timeline.
Is this where we're going to start arguing?
Yes, let's argue. I love arguing. So let's get into
All I'll say this, right, is take the specs with a pinch of salt, okay?
Yeah.
Because I have an AMD Ryzen 5950 16-core CPU, 64 gigs of RAM, a 2070 Super graphics card, and it's the worst computer I've ever had.
Yeah. No, people, and that's the thing. Ryzen, the Ryzen, AMD they do really well when it comes to video games. They get it. It's a really
This is good at
nice.
games.
Yeah, I mean the processing between, the GPU and the CPU and the way they do it, I mean, they get it. And I think it's like equally as good as Intel, maybe even better when it comes to
Yeah.
gaming. But sometimes when it comes to editing, it depends on the software that you're using. Like I'm using DaVinci Resolve. Um,
Sorry.
Obviously, we're going to get into Adobe in just a second. I don't want to, we don't want to go too far past our limit
Maybe
of
we should
time.
ask Peter what's he wanting to know for. Is he wanting to buy a new computer? Is it for editing? Is it for gaming?
Yeah, what are you going to do with it? And that's it says so no Mac for you too.
Yeah, hold on to that thought.
Yep, yep. That'll
But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. 90% of my issues that I've had with the computer is Adobe. When I went over to DaVinci, I mean, you was telling me for ages, try DaVinci, try DaVinci. I'm like, I don't want to learn DaVinci. I don't want to learn another piece of software because the
Right.
software I've chosen doesn't work. I'm trying to hold my language because seriously, if I go off on a tantrum, you'll get blacklisted by YouTube.
Yeah.
But basically, I was editing a video and Premiere crashed out 3 times in 1 hour.
Yep.
And I sat there and I thought, you know what? As soon as I've done this video, I'm going to download DaVinci and I'll take a look at it. That's, because Joe says, yeah, try DaVinci, and I'm like, I'll try it, okay? Mainly just to shut him up. I ain't kidding you. Within 2 days of downloading DaVinci, I was all in, straight in. It took me 1 day to learn it, and then I was editing the next video on DaVinci, and I ain't looked back. I absolutely love it, and it's free.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Well, that's
free.
it. I used to tell you. I mean, look, okay, so me coming from a background of, doing, episodic TV, also some movie stuff, some commercial type stuff, advertising, 15-second ad spot, 30-second ad spot, this kind of stuff. Everything that was edited, I don't care if you used Final Cut before they neutered it and turned it into crap, Final Cut X, and that's why we got
Yeah,
away from it. And that's why we ended up going from Final Cut into
yeah.
Adobe's Premiere. And then Premiere, it just got to be so just god awful, and it would crash a lot. But even though it didn't matter if you use Final Cut, if you use Premiere, or any other editor, any other NLE that's out there, we would always bring the footage, the raw footage, into into DaVinci Resolve to do all of the color grading, because grading is just unbelievably awesome in DaVinci Resolve. So finally, when DaVinci Resolve got their NLE kind of in track or on track, and it started getting better and better and better, now all of a sudden you can edit and do your color grading after the fact all in one package. And now with all of their audio that is just so well put into it, it's just really good. I mean, I want them eventually to kind of combine it all into one. You do have different tabs to go into to do the different things, which is okay. I wish they would change the layout a little bit, but that's just for another video. But no matter how you look at it, you have Fusion. I mean, you have, everything that you would have in Premiere and more. And now you don't have to take your footage into DaVinci anyways, which is already there, to do the color grade at the end. And that's what you do at the end of your film or the end of your video.
Getting back to the computers, AMD, Intel, they're all good. It's my issue I have is with Windows itself. I hate it. It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been a Windows user since 1996.
oh wow.
And it's only since I got on to being a creative person, as in doing YouTube and that I really started to see these bugs that are getting annoying.
Yeah.
And they're not groundbreaking bugs. They're not like game-breaking bugs. I can't get this video done. It's irritating little bugs at the moment. And let me just emphasize the fact that it's different bugs each time. Okay, it's not a single bug that I've had for 2 years. It's just a continuous line of bugs. They fix one bug and another one comes out. The one I've got at the moment is when you right-click on something, I have no menu. It's transparent.
It's crazy. No,
I have to restart the computer to get it to work. It's just like,
yeah, they need to fix this. So let's get into let's get into Adobe, right?
Yeah.
So I did a video about Adobe. That was like 2 or 3 videos ago. It was something like you gave Adobe usage rights to all of your private photos, and people are like, I did not. What are you talking about? And the answer to that is, yeah, you did. And I taught
Hmm.
people how to turn this off. Matter of fact, let me share my screen real quick here, guys. So, do you see this on the screen? This is some of my notes that I did for the last video. I just want to bring it to your attention. You see here it says, if you log into, now this is what it says. So, if you log into your Adobe account and then go to select account security and then privacy and personal data, that's where you're going to find this content analysis BS. And it is BS. It says Adobe may analyze your content using techniques such as machine learning, AE or AEG, for pattern recognition to develop and improve our product and services. If you prefer that Adobe not analyze your files to develop and improve our products and services, you can opt out. Listen to that. You can opt out of content analysis at any time. The settings, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, and then here you go. And this is where you just flip this little toggle over where it says, allow my content to be analyzed by Adobe for product improvement and development purposes. Basically, what this is that they are using your photos, any photo that you edit within Adobe's platform and within CC. I don't care what file it is. They keep a copy of it and they have their machine learning, their AI crunch on it and work on it and analyze it and use your IP, your intellectual property, for their advantage, which is complete bullshit. Okay, so now if they would have made this as toggled as off, and then you, if you felt comfortable in doing so, toggled it on to be a good citizen and provide your intellectual property for them to analyze, I'm okay with it. But that's not what happened. It is toggled on automatically, and now, there's nothing you can do about it. And that's just it. Well, you can go in there and find it, but the problem is it's very difficult to find. And, and I put a couple of other little quotes in here. It says Adobe does state, and they state this, it says, turning content analysis off doesn't apply. Now, this is important. Doesn't apply when users choose to participate in a program where users proactively submit content to develop and improve the product and services such as beta and pre-release programs or any image listed on sale at Adobe Stock. Now, you know what? I'm okay with the Adobe Stock thing because if I'm listing the image to be sold, I'm okay with it. But when they say anything, so if you are it doesn't matter, any file that you upload into the cloud, they have access to, period. But also, if you are a beta tester or if you're using any of their pre-release software that they give to you, you're like, oh yeah, let's say it's version 10. We have version 10.1 out. Do you want to try it? You're like, yeah, let me try it. As soon as you do that, this little toggle shit here doesn't apply according to what they literally state in quotes. It doesn't apply. So anything that you do with that piece of software is now phoning home and being uploaded into their servers to be analyzed. And the problem is, and this is a major, major problem, is that these pieces of your intellectual property is not only being reviewed by AI or their computer for their computer learning, let's say, but it has also the ability to be reviewed by Adobe workers, Adobe personnel, and by third parties, by contractors hired by Adobe. Are you shitting me? So basically, let's say if I took a picture, let's say, so I'm like down the street from Donald Trump's house, right? I've done a lot of work over at Mar-a-Lago. Okay, so like him or not, I've been here for 20 years. I live down the street from him. I've shot a lot there. So there's a lot of celebrities, a lot of stars I've worked with, a lot of people. Well, many times if it's an event, I have to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure, that says, hey, I'm not going to post any, or I'm not going to sell any of these pictures to anyone. Well, if I use Lightroom to go and edit this cloud version, well, all of those likenesses, all of those photos of those stars that I signed an NDA, they have them all. So who the hell knows what happens to them after that? I don't even have control over it. And now I could be sued because I signed an NDA, said I wouldn't get them, I wouldn't put them out there into the wild, and now they're out in the wild without me even knowing about it. So it would be a suit against me, and then I would have to sue Adobe and bring Adobe into the lawsuit and say, hey, I didn't know. There's a lot of things like that. Or how about if you're photographing a product that is going, like I said in my video, is going to go to patenting, right? You're going to patent it. And it is like highly sensitive, or maybe you're working for the government or something. Well, shit, all those photos, all that stuff goes straight up into the cloud and they can analyze it. And then, even worse, third parties could even look at it. Contractors, are you kidding me? So this is the crap that they do. And this is one of the reasons why I deleted all Adobe software from all of the PCs as well as the Macs, got rid of it everywhere, and went with alternatives. And that's when I created that Life After Adobe Cutting the Cord series way back when. And I made an entire playlist just on that.
Have you checked whether the alternatives are pulling the same thing off?
They don't. No. I mean,
because they've got AI as well, haven't they?
Yes, and it just depends on, you have to look, and that's the thing, you have to look at the TOSs, because if you don't look at the terms of service, you don't know what the hell you're getting, right? You get a cat in a bag, when you open it, you don't know what you got. You're like, oh, look. So, it's that kind of thing where you really need to stay on top of this stuff, especially now that everything is going AI this, AI that. How are they using your IP? If they are using your intellectual property to benefit from your hard work, well, they should they should pay you, right? There should be some type of compensation. So maybe if I toggle this to on, maybe I get the Adobe for half price, right? Or maybe I get it for 75% off or whatever. I don't know. If I turn it off, then I have to pay full price. There's got to be some type of compensation for you using my thousands. It's one thing if it's a wedding, but like I said, how about if it's pictures of stars? So I don't know. How do you feel about this? Because you know how I feel.
It's one thing training the AI. I'm all up for training AI. Okay, we're old enough to have sat there and used the pen tool to cut something out.
Right.
I don't know you personally, but I've done rotoscoping frame by frame.
Absolutely.
That is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
So I'm all up for AI. Whether you're in the group of I don't mind Adobe having my images or I don't mind Adobe having my images, I'm not going to talk about them owning it. What I want to talk about is them slipping it under the radar and not telling you. I should have to opt in, not opt out.
Exactly.
When I update the software, there should be a little pop that goes, oh, by the way, we're doing this, blah, blah, blah. We're going to use your images to blah, blah, blah. Here's the TOSs. Do you want to opt in?
Do you want to? That's the question.
That's the issue. I didn't even get a pop-up saying this. The first I heard about this was when your video went up.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, it's sad. A lot of people really, they were very thankful that I did that video. And they didn't even realize, they didn't even know it. And then they went into their thing and they're like, holy crap, this is toggled to on. I didn't, who said? Who friggin' said?
My
who said?
notification to say this has happened? Where is the opt-in? I'm paying for this software. You should tell me you've done something like this.
Absolutely.
No,
absolutely.
So now I'm more inclined now to find an alternative to Photoshop.
No, I mean, it's true. And you know what? Let me just tell you, I do believe, and I mean, I could be wrong here, but I do believe, folks, that there will be a class action lawsuit levied against them. There will be someone big enough that has a thick enough wallet to do it. Because when you opt people in without giving them the choice, okay, you're taking away their decision making. You're taking away their rights. You are now deciding for them that they are going to help you, right? And maybe they don't want to, or maybe legally they can't. And that is the big thing. Legally, they can't. Once again, NDAs, non-disclosures, all kinds of other stuff. People are using Lightroom and a lot of other CC, Creative Cloud product, for sensitive material or using to create sensitive material. NDA'd material or just literally material that no one can see until a specific time, right? And now it's just out there. And now Adobe, of course, would say, oh, hey, no one's going to look at it. All of our third party, all of our contractors are vetted and they have NDAs signed and all of this other crap. The bottom line is give us the choice, ask us, don't automatically assume.
Yeah.
All right. And this is what they did. They have assumed that we want to help them. Right. And some people just simply can't. Some people will say, yes, go ahead, do it. I love what you're doing. I love your company. And here's my data. And just don't steal it and then go and sell it or something. But if you want to use it for machine learning, go ahead and do it. And I think that's fine. But you should be the one to decide, not them deciding for you. So yeah, that was a really big one. I was, it was pretty sad in my personal opinion on,
it's
how
like a
that
kick in the teeth. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're paying for this software. Are we going to do these sneaky things? It's just like I said, it should at least come up saying, "Do you want to opt in?" And maybe you could do something like, "I'll opt in for certain stuff, but not you owning my stuff."
Right.
Right.
No.
Take my images, use them to train AI, use them as examples in the AI and all that stuff. But you're not owning it and you're not spreading it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't think that they're, honestly,
scooted under the wood.
I don't think Adobe is wanting your images and your video, and I don't think they want it, and I know they're not going to try to resell it. Okay, the problem that I have is they're using it to benefit them with zero compensation and with zero notification, and that's what is inherently evil. That's what's inherently wrong. You just can't do that. Just because I say so, then it's just going to happen that way. Absolutely not. You cannot do that. You absolutely cannot do that. Let me just say hello real quick. Sean just entered the chat. How are you doing, Sean? We're going to get to some of those questions. I want to get into some of these. If you see a question in there, definitely jump in and grab it, Stuart. I want to go through them. We're getting close to that 1 hour. We just want to go maybe a little bit over, maybe an hour and 15, and we'll call it, because the last one, oh my God, I was live for like 2 hours. It was crazy. But, we tested it out Starlink, made sure everything was working. So far, so good. So I haven't had anyone complain that, we're offline or buffering or anything. So that's nice. Richard says, I deleted all of my Adobe apps based on your reco or your recommendation, obviously years ago. That's awesome, Richard. And I bet you are happy that you did so. Because honestly, there's alternatives out there that you can pay once and you don't have to pay in perpetuity for the rest of your damn life to use their software, basically leasing something with no end in sight. So it's good that you did that. Absolutely. And I'm sure you probably don't miss the Adobe line up of software, because there is a lot of good alternatives out there. Let's see. Arnie says, he says, has anyone built a Hackintosh? I built a Hackintosh way back in the day. And then it was the thing, whereas they were working, they weren't working. And then doing the updates was kind of a pain in the butt. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'll just get some Mac Minis or something, and that's it, and not even bother building the Hackintosh. It just wasn't worth all of the time and effort to do so. But yeah, absolutely. I've built one. It worked great until I
was to try putting the Mac OS on this system here, I'll probably set on fire.
Yeah. I mean, it would have to be like an old Intel, AMD would just get pissed. But yeah, I mean, you could do it probably with an old Intel. But now that everything is gone with the, Apple Silicon, it's just, you would have to get an old version that's the Intel version of the OS and use that. And it's like you're always then so many steps behind that honestly, it's just simply not worth it. It's really not worth for all the effort that goes into it. Let's see. Peter says, only thing that I'm using Adobe for now is reading PDFs. Excellent. I do the same thing, actually.
They'll probably steal your PDFs as well.
PDFs, PDFs pop up, and, a lot of times it'll pop up as Adobe reading them. And then I finally deleted the Adobe PDF deal off there. And for some reason, I deleted it, and it somehow comes back. The damn Adobe shit is like a virus. I don't know. It's like back. I would, before I would like load it into Google and read. No, honestly, it's like a damn worm or something. It like gets in there and it's like, yeah, we got you. It's like, what is that? I didn't get that. I didn't. Anyways, yeah, I don't want to get into it. So let me see. Blue Beam. Peter said to give a shot. Let me see. Who else we got here? Invites refused to do any subscriptions. Yeah, subscriptions just suck. Matter of fact, just recently, what is it? Which is the one that just it starts? I think it is something one. Which is the one that just the editor like Lightroom
Capture
alternative.
One.
Capture One just went from you can buy it to now you can like also lease it, just like Adobe stuff. And people, I did a video on this. I don't know, it was a while ago now, but people got pissed. They were pissed. So yeah. So that was like a whole thing with that because I used to recommend them. And if you're a Fuji shooter, I mean, the X-Trans sensor, those files, that software works out really good for it. But I don't know. I don't want to get into subscriptions, just like what what you're saying here, that you refuse to do any subscriptions. I don't like
I've
subscriptions
cut
either.
mine down now to, I think it's about £15 a month. I pay for my Microsoft Office. That's
Oh, okay.
£5 a month, and then I got my Adobe photography bundle, which is like £10 a month. But I'll be getting rid of them as soon as I can. I think I just got to find an alternative I actually like,
Yeah.
particularly on the Lightroom side of stuff. Because I mean, there's alternatives out there, but I've got to find
Yeah.
something I like. You know what I
No,
mean? It's gonna
absolutely.
sit there and
I
get
mean,
behind, you
well,
know.
just look. You didn't listen to me for years when it came to DaVinci
You
Resolve.
have to rub it in,
I
don't you?
kind of rub it in, and then finally you tested it out and you got behind the wheel a little bit, and you're like, yeah,
Mm.
this isn't so bad. Joe
And I'll be
isn't
honest with
such
you,
an
even
ass.
if I mean, the reason I left wasn't the subscription; it was the bugs. And even if
Yeah,
Premiere
yeah, no,
does fix
I
it
agree.
and gets bug free, I probably still wouldn't go back. I'll be honest with you.
I used to have such a hard time with Photoshop because I would work on so many layers and they were so massive that the thing would crash all the damn time.
Mm.
And now, just so you guys know, I'm going to be doing the Life After Adobe Cutting the Cord series, part 2, coming here now into 2023. But I'm currently using Affinity,
Yeah.
their trifecta, which is amazing, and I'll get into that in another video. But it works out great. I can have a ton, of layers, and we don't end up crashing or anything like that. Sean says, curious, is this potential issue with alternative software options, licensed software, cloud computing, blah blah blah? Dig into the TOS of sorts. Yeah, so it could be,
Mm.
and yeah, just like I said before, you have to dig into those TOSs, the terms of
And,
service.
and and not just the TOS when you install it, but you're gonna have to dig into it every time you have an update now.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, every update you're
So
gonna have to
important.
read what's changed. The TOS. I mean, that's one thing with Adobe as well. They put out, oh, we've got an update. Here's the update. It says bug fixes. What bugs have you fixed? I'd like details. Has my bug that's affecting me been fixed?
Right.
Nope.
No, of course not. And matter of fact, so Adobe squeeze, they kind of like just squeeze this in to their update in August, where this thing was turned on. So literally since August,
Yeah.
everyone's photos, video, all of their crap has been going to them, and they have full access over all of it because no one knows about it. They didn't even know to turn it off. Let me see. Before you mention, Sean says, before you mention DaVinci software, do you find similar settings in terms of service? Yeah, so DaVinci is pretty much open. They make their money on their hardware. They make a little bit of money on their
Mm.
software. It depends on what you're doing over there. You can buy DaVinci Resolve, or you don't have to. You can use the free version. If you buy it, you get a lot of other niceties.
It's a great strategy because if you're first
It's just
starting out
smart.
and
Yeah,
you don't need all the high-end
you
filters like the
don't need it.
noise reduction, all that, you
Right.
get it for free.
Yeah.
Have you tried DaVinci on the iPad yet?
You know what? I was going to do that. I have an iPad Pro, the big 13-inch, and I'm going to do that. And I'll let you know kind
I
of
got
what
I
I
got the
think.
wife one of the 9th gen iPad and I slapped it on there and I was like, it's working.
I'm sure it's working pretty good. The problem that I have with it is that the way when I read about it, okay, I was going to do a piece on it, but when I read about it, the DaVinci Resolve for the iPad is basically the editing, not the editing module, but the cutting module,
Hmm.
and I never use that
Yeah, I
module.
don't.
I
But there
sit
was a
in the editing.
Hangout. there was a hack. I don't know if it works now. I'd have to look at it. Someone put a video out. Whereas if you go into the menu and reassign shortcuts for the editing
You
page
could get in?
and everything, it pops on. Yeah,
No
which
crap. That's awesome.
that's kind of a workaround. But that also tells like people like me and you is it's coming
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
be
They
in there
probably
if
they
it
probably
wasn't.
are only limiting this
It's
because
yeah,
it's
it's
the basic stuff
yeah,
and
it's probably buggy. The editing page is probably buggy,
yeah.
so
Or
therefore we
what they'll
won't let you have
do,
access.
yeah,
You
or
know,
maybe
or,
they'll make it a paid, an
yeah,
increased paid option.
yeah,
And I'm okay with that. Make money. If you look, if you make something that is good, I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna use it, period.
yes. That's
And
the
that's
thing,
just
isn't
it. I
it?
mean, this is it. I mean, it's nothing it's not
I
hard,
mean,
right?
it's hard to it's hard to talk about this without talking into the future too much. But you can slap your footage onto a NAS drive, okay? You can then do a like a first run edit, it's like your quick cut edit on the iPad while you're in bed,
Right.
and then that will automatically synchronize your projects when you come
Absolutely.
onto your main PC
Yeah.
to do the effects and
Yeah,
stuff like
that's
that.
and
And I'm like,
that
that's
ecosystem, like I said
brilliant.
before, with they really got it down, from
Mm,
audio to fusion for doing all of that kind of stuff. The same thing as your effects over on Premiere side,
yeah,
and also what is really nice. I mean, it's very similar to like an Apple system where it all kind of melds together and you can kind of use it all. It's the same thing with this. You do whatever you do on the iPad, and then it's the exact same file that it's using when you come over
yeah.
to your computer. Then you do your final edits. It's easy to just do cuts, let's say, while you're in bed, and then later on get on the big computer on my 34-inch massive timeline and be able to get all of the little
Mm.
nuances kind of dialed in. So it's definitely a
It's
good
very good. I
option.
just hope they don't get greedy and do something stupid.
We'll see. We'll see. I hope
Um,
not. I hope not. They've been good so far.
yeah,
So, but Sean says, excuse me. Richard said, any fearless forecast about video hardware or software this year. I really don't know what's going to be going on this year. I just feel like a lot of the stuff that's been coming out the last year or so has been like more of the same. Nothing innovative. It's more iterative. So I don't know what's going to happen. I think that we're going to see
I,
a lot more AI crap out there. A
I
lot
can do a
more.
prediction.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think Windows is going to get stable. Adobe is going to let you pay a one-time fee license. Apple are going to release an iPhone that's actually a decent upgrade to the last version.
I
Some
think
stuff
you're.
like that.
So I personally think you're out of your mind.
Yep.
I think that I will trade. I think I will take my Windows and dump it and go Apple. I think I'll take my iPhone and run it over with my car and get a Pi phone from Elon Musk that will connect to a SpaceX Starlink satellite. And I think I'll stick with DaVinci Resolve, and Adobe can go and just go screw
Actually, come
because
to think of it,
they're crap anyways.
hold on, just 1 minute. We we've been talking about Da Vinci, and I think it's the only thing we haven't got something to moan about.
Yeah, yeah. I
Everything
mean,
else, there's something that irritates us, or there's something little bug that goes, oh, that just pees me if they could only just do it like that.
okay.
But when we
So
talk about Da Vinci,
yeah,
it's
so I'll
like
give some
we just love
here
it.
here's yeah, so here's some crap on DaVinci. I mean, DaVinci Resolve sometimes will crash. Very, it's not often at all. Maybe let's say in a week's worth of edits, and I do like what 3, 4, 5 videos in a week. It might crash once in a week,
Yeah,
but most
yeah.
likely not. But
But
what they do in comparison to Premiere and all the rest of them,
I know what
they're
you're going to mention.
literally saving on the back end continuously.
Every single time you make any change,
I'm not
save.
having to do Control S, Control S, Control S, Control S, or
Yeah,
set up a hotkey on my Stream Deck, save, save, save.
yeah,
I don't need to do
yeah.
that. It's
You're
just,
just editing away. It crashes out. You load it back up. It's
I load it
exactly
up.
the
It says,
same
hey,
place it was when it
yeah,
crashed.
it's like, hey, I think you
It's
crashed
called
the last
is it
time.
called live saving? It is. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
called live
And
save,
it's
isn't it?
it's continuously. So I don't
Yeah.
even care if the damn thing crashes. And then also sometimes like during export, it might like freeze up during export. That could have to do with the Ryzen setup and maybe heat build up. I mean, there could be all kinds of issues.
What I found on
I don't want to
mine,
blame it, but you know,
if it crashes on export, it's usually on a graphic or something.
it could be.
And what you do is if you put that into a new composition,
Right.
right-click new composition,
Right.
and then render in place, it'll render the whole thing out and not crash.
Yeah, there you go. There's always like a workaround.
Just render in place.
Yeah, in comparison to where Premiere just dies, and then you're like, holy crap, I just lost
Premiere
15
just used to do
minutes
all
of...
kinds of different things. It's like weird stuff, though. Do you know what I mean? But the most annoying thing about it was you got bugs in all software. DaVinci crashes out. There was a bug in DaVinci as well that I had, where when you make a cut, there'd be like a little bit of a beep in your audio as it's switching from the one cut to the next. The thing is, it was fixed within 3 days. With Adobe, you're talking months, years. You've still got the same bugs in it that were there from 3 years ago.
Right.
But DaVinci, they just go, oh, that's a bug. Oh, we'll fix that. Bang, it's done. You know,
Absolutely.
and they fixed it. And now, I honestly, I can't remember the last time it crashed out on me, DaVinci. Windows sucks, but DaVinci
I mean,
doesn't.
it's good. It's absolutely good.
And it's free. It's free.
Yeah, it's free. I know. Have you said it?
I can't stress it more enough. I mean, it's like, it's free.
It's free. It's free. Give it a shot. See if you like it. If you like
you're
it, good. If
just-
you don't, it's okay too.
Yeah.
I mean,
if
you
you're
could
just
chuck it.
starting out, it's a no-brainer because it's free.
It is
You
by
get to
far the best
practice.
free NLE currently on the market. But it is a full-blown NLE, so that if you just need something basic, there are others that I would recommend over it. So you know that's something to think about too. So, but I got videos on that too. Once again, check that. Check that Life After Adobe. I should have worn my Life After Adobe Cutting the Cord series. If you guys want one of those shirts, I have that in my merch. If you go over to JCristina.com, you will find that shirt. I love it. It's got the skull. It says Life After Adobe. I love that. Okay. I also have my Tea Time shirt. Go check those out. You'll find it in the shop. Let me see.
You're gonna have a T-shirt that says Windows sucks on it.
Windows sucks. A blue shirt, right? The blue screen of death with like a bunch of code, and it says, we've had experienced a freaking problem.
I honestly get a blue screen of death every 2 days now.
Now you need to replace that because something's not right there.
I've got something in the works, but I don't really want to talk about it.
All right, don't reveal it yet then. Maybe you'll have me on your show for once after, I don't know, a year or plus or two or whatever.
So I've got something in the works to replace this Windows machine, but I don't really want to talk about it.
Are you now eating? What the hell is that? Are you crunching a damn apple? So look at this.
I don't think you quite get the joke, do you?
I always get it. I just don't say anything. So Rob B says, sorry if I missed out on recent videos, but have you heard any updates about Starlink losing or gaining back government subsidies for rural internet? So I have not. I don't know. The government, so Elon lost out on about $1 billion, 900 and some million dollars subsidy. And then he put in for another chunk or whatever. Now, he's gotten money from the government in the past. Some people are like, oh, no, he doesn't. No, he's gotten money from the government. He's trying to get more. And I hope he does. Because like I've said in the past, Robert, in a lot of my videos, this is the guy that has the first company, right? I would call him an ISP at this point, right? The first ISP, the first company that actually did anything when it comes to rural anywhere, America or anywhere, that actually said that I'm going to take these subsidies and I'm going to give the people in the rural areas internet. Okay, we have AT&T here for 20 years. I originally started out, I still have like Uverse, okay? 15 megs down and 1.5 megs up. I have that as a backup, but that's what we have here. And on AT&T's page for over, I think it's 9 or 10 years now, if I look up my address and put in fiber, it says coming soon. Are you freaking kidding me? You're not coming. Stop lying to me. You're not putting it here, okay? Fiber coming soon to my address is BS, okay? And this is what all these companies do.
Do you
They
want me
get
to upset you?
don't no no don't. Well, because
They've,
look,
they've,
you're in
they've
the
just
UK,
stuck,
so I don't want to hear from you at all right?
they've just stuck fibre in my street that will give you gigabit down and up.
So, and this is what I said in my last video. I said, you know what? Americans don't realize how, this is a Hangout, so how
Well,
shitty, okay, internet service is in the United States. We don't get it because here in the US, we just think everything is like rainbows and leprechauns. What they tell us is how it is. And it freaking isn't. Because see, I'm like first generation American, right? So my parents came over here literally on the boat, okay, to get here. They're all from the EU, all from Europe, okay? You know, my background is, is Sicilian, Germanic, Scott and English and all the rest of the stuff, all in the EU. That's where my blood comes from. So I have a lot of relatives over there, and they have exactly what you're saying, which pisses me off. Gigabit, bidirectional, not one direct, bidirectional, gig up, gig down. Then I have relatives in the mountains in Germany and Sicily, in the mountains, with literally 10 times the speed that I have. It's like, what is going on? What is going on? I'm not like rural, like sitting in a cow pasture. There is like a town right next to me, a big town, right? It doesn't matter though. It's because these entities get government funding and they do shit with it. Whereas in Europe, for some reason, they find a use for internet. They feel that their people, even if they're sitting on like a pasture somewhere, right? And they're farming, they should have 5G that actually works. I have 5G here. I have Verizon and I have T-Mobile. T-Mobile is like Deutsche Telekom. It's from Germany, right? So I have T-Mobile here. They say they got 5G and all of this stuff. I've used their service. It is crap. The down speed might be like 50 meg down. We're not talking about gigabit, 50 meg down. And their up speed sometimes doesn't even get to 1 meg up with 5G. Are you kidding me? I mean, anyways, so I'm kind of, ranting here with this whole thing because I'm just venting because the internet, and that's why with you over there, literally fiber running like next to you, it's so frustrating. And I just want, it's almost like a PSA to the American people to understand that it sucks here for internet,
yes,
right?
so we're like yin and yang, ain't we? You got a decent computer that works with bad internet. I've got decent internet with a computer that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have like some quantum freaking machine that's running on fiber optic, and not even have like copper anymore. And I'm going to be sitting here in the Stone Age. I don't know. I'm going to start washing my clothes like on a freaking grater. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. But anyways, that's my little vent. Let's get back to, you see any more, any other questions here? What do we got here? Peter says, can you make a DaVinci video? Yeah, I will do that. I will make something on DaVinci. I think that would be good. Let me see. Sean says dialogue around the legal aspects is, yeah, so that, hold on one second. Organizations stick with the legal system with big power back to the users. Yeah. The problem is lawyers, all right, I don't want to offend any lawyers, but they make just an ass ton of money on the backs of people. And in the US, the company or entity that's suing or is being sued that has the most amount of funds in the bank wins. Period. Okay? Period. Now, I'm not going to go into my saga with this system, but trust me when I tell you that is factual. And if you go against a big entity that has a lot more money than you, they could have just, Harvard grad and Yale grad lawyers that are going against your lawyers that are just coming out of the community college. Okay, number one. But number two, even if you're right, they can stonewall you because they have the funds to do it for years on end until they bleed your bank account, and eventually you have to give up. Trust me on this. Trust me. Okay. So the guy with or the company with the most money wins in this country. Period. I don't even care right or wrong. That's just the way it is. Rob says, yes, I remember talking to you about the fact that so many companies got subsidies. Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of companies that got subsidies from the government to retrofit the old copper wires, DSL, and of course UVerse into fiber, and they just haven't done it. They just haven't done it. And what they do, yeah. What they do is do this much. They'll do a tiny bit and be like, oh, look at me, you know, I got fiber to this, I don't know, this RV park. And look, there's 600 people with fiber. Isn't that great? Instead of actually bringing it to a community of 100 people that will actually use it, but that's the stuff that they'll do, and no one in the park will actually use it. But it's just the way that they can justify it. Okay, that's the way they do it. They're just shady. These companies are shady. Let me see. Due diligence is critical, but there must be a tipping point when the mountain of material is taller than the tower. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Cover your ass. The unreasonable, unlawful. Yeah. Let me see. Rob says, yes, remember we talked to, yeah, many of the, okay. Let me see. Stefan, how are you doing, my friend? Welcome. Agree, U.S. is far behind. I travel all over the world, so you understand it. You know, I'm not just, you know, when I say that the U.S. is absolute garbage when it comes to internet, anyone that travels outside of the U.S. or has relatives or family members outside of the U.S. will tell you the exact same damn thing. I'm not just saying it. Peter says, I have gigabit by gigabit. I hate you, Peter. Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing is by the time you get up to speed with what we have today, we'll have like 5 gigabit or 10 gigabit.
Yeah, that's what I said. You'll have quantum computing. All of your computers will be running on light.
Yeah. Unless, of course, there's Windows on that computer, and then it won't run at all.
Night Bader says, and unicorn farts. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Unicorn farts. I've seen those farts. I've seen leprechauns too, actually. Let me see. AT&T, same BS.
Was that a hit at my height then?
No, I would never do that.
No?
Are you short? I can't tell. You look tall to me. I don't know.
Oh, I am.
Are you sitting on a phone book? Tell me the truth.
Let me just have a look at your chair. Can you move the camera? I think I have the same chair as yours.
Do you? This is like IKEA, I think, or some
shit.
Yeah,
IKEA.
Get the frick out of here. You do have the same damn chair.
Yeah.
And you're in the UK. Did you get it in
Did
you get it? Did you get it in IKEA?
Yeah, there's one literally just down the road from me. IKEA.
Holy
massive
crap.
IKEA store. We're constantly in there all the time.
That's amazing.
When I go in there, you can hear my wallet scream.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good.
I like I like IKEA for just like certain products. Some of the stuff, you know, it's shites, but I mean, like certain stuff. I mean, this thing has been around for like 5+ years.
Half of my desk is IKEA.
Is it? Yeah. There's some really good. I mean, there's good options, and it's that's a good value. Put it that way. It's lower cost.
Let me turn the light on.
Here, go ahead, put it up there. I'll look at these comments in the meantime while you show your IKEA setup.
IKEA, all IKEA.
Jeez. Nice. That's not bad.
The only thing that's not IKEA is the actual desk surfaces, because I paid for solid oak desk surfaces, so I can abuse them basically, not worry about it.
Yeah.
And abuse them I have.
Stefan says venting is good for the soul. No worries. Yes, it is. Sometimes you just need to get it out, right? That's what I like about these little hangouts that we do, because it's just us talking, just being real, and you get to know. Hopefully the channel. I mean, we're now up to like over 50-some thousand people, 57,000, whatever. I finally hit a milestone, guys. A milestone, which is unfreaking believable. I put it out there. Let me see if I can find it. Is it here? No, this isn't it. Did I delete it? Probably. I hope not. Maybe. Did I? No. Look at this, guys. I'm going to put it on my screen just so you can see this. Let's see. Here, maybe. Yes. Let me flip this. All right. Look at that. Wow. 7 million views. Man, that is a bunch of views. I'm an idiot. Am I not? I've been doing this forever. That's amazing to me. They sent me that, I don't know, what was it? This vidIQ people. That was fun. I mean, I appreciate they sent that to me, but 7 million views. I've been doing this for a while, and I honestly, I enjoy it. I really do. And I hope that when people are here on with us on these Hangouts, they understand, like, the person that you see that that I'm doing the regular videos of is really who I am. It's not like I'm putting on some type of airs or something. It's, when I talk to you through a video, it's the same thing as I'm talking to you right now, hanging out. This is just how I am, Whereas, sometimes I find that there's a lot of people that they somehow have to, like, try to change who they are when they're making videos, like they don't feel comfortable or something. I feel that's sad. You really just need to be who you are.
We are who we are, and we tell it like it is.
There you go. Sing it. Sing it.
Yeah.
Let me see. Robert says, thanks for the comments on this. First time I have been able to watch live. Well, welcome, Rob. I'm glad you were able to make it. That's awesome. Let me see. Nightbear said, I've had Exceed said U.S. Cellular. Oh my God, Verizon Internet. Starlink beats them all by far. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of folks have been coming from HughesNet and Viasat and all the rest of these internet service providers that are satellite based and moving into Starlink, because Starlink is a LEO satellite cluster, right? Constellation. So the pings, like right now I have a ping going, just for example, I am broadcasting to you, but I'm also getting a feed in. So we're sending three, but it's basically like three feeds. And I have a ping right now of about 30 milliseconds to 40 milliseconds, and it's fluctuating. Matter of fact, I might even be able to, can I do this? I think I can. Check this out. All right, guys, you see that? I just threw it up on the screen. That's my ping. I'm going to leave it there for a minute. So it's just amazing to me. Whereas if you were using Viasat or if you're using HughesNet or something, number one, you have these horrible, just awful latency. So instead of getting a ping of 30, 40 milliseconds, whatever, it's like 100, 200. It's like crazy. It's almost unusable, in my personal opinion. It's very expensive. And then, the service that you're getting is not that quick anyways. It's a hot mess. So when Starlink came out.
Are you geo-locked on Starlink, or can you just move it around?
So you are geo-locked if you have residential. But
Right.
if now they have come out with other services that are not residential. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and let me pop this back off the screen, and I'll take that ping back off, switch that over, and we'll go over to my screen here. So you see this? This is Starlink's page. Now they have, let me see if I can pop this. So they have residential, business, RV, maritime, aviation, and IoT. So I have this, which is residential. All right. It's $5.99 and $110 a month. When I came on board, it was $4.99 and $99 a month. But obviously it went up. I've been there since the beginning. So this is it. But they also have this business package, whereas it is $2,000, $2,500 for the hardware and $500 per month. And then they have even more. Now, the RV is the one that we're talking about when you can actually pick it up and move it about. So at this point, the way it works is you're paying, let's say, your $599 for the hardware if you want the smaller dish, or $2,500 if you want the bigger dish, and that is in motion too. So what that means is that dish will track, or no, it really doesn't track, but let's just call it tracks. It's just a wide array, a really massive array, but it's $135 a month for that. So what happens here, guys, is those packages you could kind of move about, but with a residential like what I have, you cannot. So you're geo-locked to that one spot. But also the service is, let's just say you're getting an IP address from a pool of IP addresses. So it's CGNAT, okay? The problem with CGNAT is that you don't have your own IP address. You can't do port forwarding. You don't have a static IP. So if you want to log into your computer remotely, you cannot do it, right? And that's why I was talking to these people over there at PureVPN, And they sent me out their software. I took a look at it. I tested. I really loved it. We went back and forth. And then they came on as the sponsor. And they said, you know what? We're going to give you a link. And this link, all of my videos have this link in it. It's like 81% off for PureVPN. But it's not just a VPN, whereas you're getting, your 256-bit encryption, all the rest of the crap that you get from a VPN. I don't use it for that. But what's good about it is I get a static IP address, and I also get the ability to do port forwarding. So that's awesome. So if I want to log in, I can open up certain ports. I can open up certain computers, let's say, if I need to get in, if I'm on location on a job and I need to get into my NAS or whatever, there's things that I can do that you can't do with the CGNAT type of ISP. And Starlink is not the only one. There's a lot of ISPs that use CGNAT. And if you don't know, the reason they do is because they're cheap. And instead of having IP addresses in an entire pool, CGNAT allows them to have one IP address for like 100 people. And then it does that network translation once it gets back to them to know which person it actually came from. All right. So just think of my IP address being like 1.1.1.1 point A and 1.1.1.1 point B or whatever. So it knows if I put in a request, it goes to point A. And if you put in a request, it goes to point B. So that's kind of the skinny about what CGNAT, the way it works. So anyways, that's kind of like a long story on a short question. But I think it's very interesting on how things are going these days. And just simply having like that VPN that I have now, it gives me added functionality that you don't get when you have like Starlink or any of these other services. Let me see. Let me see if there's other questions. Do you see other questions? Jump in there, because I know we're going to probably go over time, and I want to kind of cut it so that we're not going to. Yeah, it's already 12 my time, right? 12:08. So maybe another 5 minutes, guys. Any other questions? Put them in there, and then we'll call it. Let's see. Stefan says, "Congratulations. We need much more. We need as much as your 7 million display." So I mean. I'm just amazed that 7 million, views happened. It's just, to me, it's baffling. It really is. I think it's amazing, and I thank everyone that has been watching my stuff, that are actually enjoying it. So that's really cool. Let me see. P-Alt. I don't know. I guess that's what it'd be. Maybe Alt-P. Are you printing? P-Alt says, my poor local. Well, it says they couldn't keep up yet. So, I mean, those. I wish my county would do something when it comes to internet and actually have some type of internet local. That would be pretty cool for me. I would like to see something done, but I can't even get them to put. Fiber coming out of the D-Slam that we have right up the road. They changed over from DSL to Uverse, and they thought that was going to be something great. Well, yeah, it's great if you're like 1,000 feet away from the D-Slam. The problem is if DSL is a powered service, so it can power it 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 feet up the road. Uverse, guess what? It's not powered, so the signal only goes. It doesn't go that far. 2, 3, 4, 5,000 feet, then it degrades, and then you're at shit speed. So yeah, they upgraded to downgrade. That's what AT&T did. I'm talking a lot of technical crap. A lot of people don't want to hear it. I shouldn't even do that. But let me see. I'm literally 2 miles from a major city, and yeah, I got nothing ground based. That's fantastic. It's complete crap. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. We have fiber. No, Arnie says we have fiber internet on an island in the south between Denmark and Sweden 15 years ago. You know what, Arnie? I hate you too. I hate you too. But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, Stuart. I mean, look, on a damn island 15 years ago. Good. I don't even know. Whatever. Yeah, we got 6 milliseconds. Yeah, that's nice. Smitty, how you doing, Smitty? Appreciate you being here.
I think someone's upset you, haven't they?
Yeah.
You've gone quiet there. You've gone quiet there.
Let me see. Smitty says, been internationally rocking, intentionally rocking Windows 7. I love that for a long time. A lot of people never upgraded from Windows 7, even when Windows said, listen, you have to. We're not doing any upgrades. We're not doing nothing to it. It's funny. A lot of people did that. Once again, I'm technical. I used to be system administrator, work in a NOC, Network Operations Center. We worked on a massive servers. A lot of the stuff was doing virtualization. And a lot of these virtual machines were using Windows 7. And they just work. The thing just works. And then they went on and things just were breaking. So yeah, a lot of people still use Windows 7. It's amazing.
You know why Windows 7 works, don't you?
I really honestly don't know. It's probably because it's smaller, it's half the size, not bloated with friggin' viruses.
It's because they're not updating it every 2 days.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, yeah, and putting more viruses in it and more worms and freaking bloatware that they do. You know, an operating.
Have you ever had to get onto Microsoft technical support?
Oh yeah, I don't even understand them.
I had to do it once. I mean, what happens here? I mean, I don't know about your computer because you're not having decent internet, but
thanks a lot.
Here, you got to shut down the machine at night, and it'll say update and shut down. So you update, you shut down, and then you boot up the next day. And the one day, I didn't even have an operating system; it had gone. So I got onto Microsoft technical support, and they basically blame my hardware. And I'm like, well, it can't be the hardware if it was working the day before you put your update on.
Yeah, of course.
But
they blame everything.
It's not their software because their software
it's
is
never
100% stable. It works. It does exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Nightbiter says, let me see. He says you can upgrade from residential to RV, but you can't change back. That's absolutely the case. So if you need mobility, right? You buy into mobility. If you need to get something steadfast in one location, you need business or you need your residential, stick with that. Because once you go to RV or mobile, whatever, or whatever you want to call it, you can't come back. You have to buy another service. So, it kind of is what it is. Let me see. Wesley, welcome. Congratulations on the 7 million. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Robert says our local telco has plans to get fiber to the entire county. Could you imagine that? But it's an 8-year plan. So when they say 8 year, my plan was 10 years, right? If I looked up my address, it says fiber is coming, but that's for about 9 or 10 years now. Same page and the same message. They didn't even update the damn message. So I don't count on it. Don't count on it. It's horrible. And that's why, some people are like, oh, you're a fanboy of Elon Musk and SpaceX Starlink. I do a lot of talking on it because I truly believe in it. And I truly am appreciative of getting, access that I have. It's not me getting paid to talk about their crap. They should pay me. But it's not about that. Like, I don't get paid. I tell you guys based on experience, and I think that's the best thing that can happen on YouTube is actually you find channels that are actually speaking from the heart and telling you the truth and not giving you a whole bunch of fluff because they're selling you something. And we don't see that as often as we used to. Things have become very, very commercialized. Richard says, any travel plans for the channel?
He wants to come to the UK and photograph some jumping spiders.
Yeah, or at least use your internet. I mean, kind of cool. Yeah,
it's just gonna carry on for the rest of the show now.
Yeah, no, I was, there was some travel plans possibly coming up, but we'll see. I'll let you know what ends up happening, Richard. It'd be nice to get out for a bit. Let me see. Random aside, it says when you're talking that nitro, when you're talking about the nitro, you show off. So if you guys can see it back there, I'm not going to go grab it. That is a nitro HPI RS4. I guess it's an all-wheel drive nitro car. That is an RC car. And it just spits out nitro fuels, the smoke. I love the smell of it. It's fast. It goes 50 plus miles per hour, all-wheel drive. It burns the tires. It's a lot of fun. I'll have to do some shorts, some videos on it. If you guys like it, I'll do maybe a breakdown and show you how I took that, which was like 21 years old, and unfroze the motor and got it all back together. My son-in-law helped me with it. I appreciate him for that. Bought a lot of different parts that we needed, as you get that dry rot after a while. But it's running now. It's screaming. It's a basher. It's awesome. I absolutely love it. I used to race RC cars way back in the day, off-road. It was a lot of fun. Let me see. Let's see. First time I caught a live. How you doing, Cody? Appreciate you being here, man. Wesley says I moved outside of 14 years ago. 5 meg. Oh my God, 5 meg and 0.5 meg. Yeah, I'm with you. Holy crap! I have 15 meg down and 1.5 meg up on a good day. What a crap! Before I got Starlink, and he says, "Thank God."
That was a speed we had back in 2000 odd.
Yeah, no, before that, honestly. Yeah, no, honestly. I mean, all joking aside, the service that AT&T is providing through Uverse currently at this location, which is 15 meg down, 1.5 up, is it is shameful. It is shameful at best. It is shameful. Okay, and and how it is allowed by an entity who is being subsidized by the government. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I honestly don't. I don't know. I don't even know what else to say. Dallas area. Let me see here. What is this? How you doing there, Dr. Umont? It says. I mean, Dumont. It says Dallas area not available yet. Starlink active at local supercharger. That's always cool. Of course, they're going to activate them at the superchargers, or they'll just throw one of their Starlinks in there. If I buy an RV package bolted onto the roof, will I get service? You will. So even if you do not have service in your area, you can get what is called best effort, I think it's called, where you can get service in your area. And what happens is during times of congestion, it will slow your speed down. The other thing is yes, you can buy the RV service and use it at your home also, but it is a best effort with RV. So if there's people in your area using it, they're going to get prioritization over you. So they get priority data while you get basic data. But remember, when it's not congested, you're going to get fast speed anyways. So it's not a bad deal, in my personal opinion. If you don't have anything else, it is a fantastic deal. Let's see. Ari says our power utility in Mississippi are installing gigabit fiber internet in 4 counties. Man, that is amazing. That is amazing. Congratulations. I mean, that's just great. To see fiber being laid down is great. Fiber hasn't been laid down. I don't even, it's like Corning has lost their shit or something. Like, what is going on with the damn fiber? Where are these cables? Why are they laying them down? Is there like a supply issue, or is it just a worker issue, or they just keep, they keep taking the funding and using it for other stuff like lining their pockets? I don't know. Adobe and AT&T starts with an A. Not good. I like that. It is absolutely absolutely the case. Jason, how you doing, bud? How you doing? Are they likely ever to install fiber in your local area? I assume you would drop instantly. So, all right. I would. So if they gave me fiber in my area, I still would not shut off Starlink. The same reason why I have Starlink that is like 100, 200 meg down and like 10, 15 meg up, I still have AT&T. Why is that? Redundancy, right? As we always say, if you're doing anything, even with backing up your data, 2 is 1, 1 is none. If you have 1, you're going to end up with none. So if they came up with fiber in my location, I would take the fiber and I would also pay for Starlink, and I would use on my router that has multiple WANs or multiple ISPs. I have it set up. I did a video on it. Maybe you can go and check that out. It's redundant. So if Starlink goes down, AT&T picks up. It's going slow, but I still have internet. Then as soon as Starlink comes back up, it switches back over to Starlink. I would do the same thing with fiber. Fiber would be the primary, Starlink would be the secondary or backup, and then if the fiber goes down, Starlink picks up the slack. And then I won't have to worry about anything. And that's why I do what I do.
That's a little bit better than my solution, I must admit that.
What are you doing? Are you doing like...
if my internet goes down, I just bitch like a child.
Oh, that's okay. I mean,
And then I go and watch a film that's offline.
So Starlink went down the other day, and I got a lot of messages in because people DM me because for some reason a lot of them think that I'm like Starlink customer service. But
it's great when that happens.
I joke about it, but I do appreciate all those DMs, and I try to help everyone out as much as possible. But they were down. Starlink was down. I took a look at the down survey thing. It's like a chart. Anyways, they were down for about an hour. Some people said that they were down for 10 minutes. Other people half an hour. I got like a ton of DMs in. And I didn't realize it. I didn't know it. So what must have happened is my switch probably switched from Starlink over to AT&T. I was using that, didn't even know the difference, and then it probably swapped back, and I didn't know. So, I mean, if you guys have any ability to do a dual WAN setup, do it. I put some of the ones that I use, some of the routers that I use. The recent one that I just configured was a UTT router. It worked out well. It's all right. It's like $60. If it doesn't work, I'll put it in the garbage. I'll run it over with the car, make a short out of it or something. Whatever. For $60, I'm actually right now. I don't. It's over there. I wish I had a closer one. I'm reviewing a PepLink Balance 20X. But that thing's like $500. So $60, $500. I expect it to be better. I don't know. So we will see. Jason says here in the UK, Virgin have offered 1 gigabit down and 50 meg up for £36. What?
Yeah, the only problem with Virgin is they're the fastest internet between crashes.
Yeah,
Virgin's
no.
down more often than anybody else. But yeah, the ones that I've just put in here. Let me just get a leaflet. Where's my leaflet?
Guys, any other questions that you have, put them in the chat right now, because I'm gonna kind of get out of here within probably the next 5 minutes. I keep saying that like 20 minutes ago. So like 5 minutes, we're gonna get out of here. What is it called?
This is the construction leaflet ads to say that the fibre was getting put in, and that's the company. I'm not going to bang on them too much because I don't know what the service is like. I ain't had it. However, they are going to be giving us, well, it's already there, but I've got to wait for my BT contract to finish at the end of the year. I will be able to get gigabit down, gigabit up for £30 a month.
That's just, bless you,
Mental.
man. Bless you. I think that's just awesome. I really do. I don't think I will get bidirectional gigabit while I'm outside of my coffin. I don't think so. I think that I will be dead before.
How old are you now?
Yeah, I don't think I'll probably, that'll be like something that I request is, I don't want a gold coffin or any shit like that. I want high-speed internet, fiber in the coffin, right? With like I don't know, something, but I don't think I'm going to get it. I honestly, because they keep saying it for a decade. Stuart, a decade coming soon. I should find it. I should bring it up. It's aggravating, obviously. It's sad. It's pathetic,
Well, I don't know if it works the same in America, but over here, when they want to do an upgrade, so say a couple of years ago when BT did their upgrade, when they went from the copper cable, the overhead cables that we have in the UK, and they replaced that with fibre. They basically turned around and said each area and street has its own little postcode, as it does in America.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And what they did is say, right, we are ready to upgrade your area, register your interest, and if they get so many people that register the interest, they will come and upgrade it.
Right.
But if they don't get many people register to say, I want this upgrade, then they don't do it.
So, okay, so what they would, okay, I think it's great. It's brilliant. It's actually brilliant. But you know what they would do here? They would do the exact same thing, right? And let's say there is 10,000 people in this township, let's say, or 30,000. They'll say, yeah, okay, if we get enough people, we're going to send out a form. They will send it out, but guess what? They would probably send it out to 1,000 out of the 30,000 people, and then say, hey, we didn't get enough. Well, no shit. This is what they would do. This is literally how bad, how evil these people are. And I'm not joking. I know I'm coming off that way as kind of flippant, but it is factual. It is factual. And the reason I know this is because, working in a NOC, I worked on a server right next to Bell Atlantic server. If anyone knows what that is, you'll know. So I'm down here. That was in Boca Raton. So I worked next to a Bell Atlantic server, and I remember talking to one of the system administrators, and they're the ones that actually told me on how this shit goes down and how these engineers work and the whole, because he knew the inside. He was in there for probably like 30 years, right? So it is literally that bad, and they just simply don't do it. They don't do it. They say that they do things and they make it look like it, but they simply don't do it. They just absolutely don't do it. Let me see here. Smitty said Starlink is a godsend. where I live, and I can understand that. Anyone in rural areas that got Starlink, when if they're able to, they're like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. I'm actually able to do what everyone else says that they can do that I've never been able to do. So it is revolutionary if you've never had it before. And a lot of the people that wish to live in a rural environment and not in the city have been, on this, as I call it, the digital divide. You have the digital divide. You have the haves and you have nots, but you have the haves of high-speed internet and the have-nots that don't have it, right? And like Elon Musk has been trying to, let's say, lessen that gap, or maybe even fill the gap between the divide, right? Whereas the other companies haven't been able to do it. So it's great that it's happening. It is what it is. He says, yeah, but you saw how fast they did the DTV switch all over the world. Yeah. I mean, that was a major switch, and it took them, God, how long? Freaking forever. They've been saying that they're going to be sending 4K signal for ages too. And if you go online, if you go and take a look at there's very little 4K programming. I mean, especially for us here, there's not a lot. I mean, there's some. There's HD, of course, but I mean, perfect example. We used to have Dish Network. And literally not until like maybe the last 10 years, maybe even sooner than that, I don't know, they had 720. They didn't even give you 1080. And then finally they gave you 1080. It was like a big thing. You got HD and you had to pay extra for HD channels and stuff. Forget about 4K. So, a lot of these companies say they're going to do this and that, and they just never do it. Arnie says the main problem here is some of the counties, the states, and the cities are exclusive agreements with AT&T and others of the big pad providers. Yeah, so when they do that, right? They have these exclusive agreements, and then what ends up happening is no one can get in there to compete. And that is a major problem. And like I say, if you're the government, you're paying and you're giving these companies, there should be some type of rules. And I feel like the rules, that line is they're just not there. I mean, they're really not there. Anyways, I don't want to talk, ad nauseum about the connection stuff and whatnot, but it is interesting. It is an interesting topic.
Your viewers are starting to upset you now, basically.
Yeah, I'm starting to sweat. I'm getting pissed.
You're starting to sweat and get pissed.
I really don't care. I mean, honestly,
Jason, he says that they went from a maximum of 80 meg download from BT in their area to 5 providers offering up to gigabit internet. Yeah, it literally overnight. It went from BT having the monopoly, and here's your 80 meg. We had that for years, and all of a sudden, we just had like 5 different providers going, here's gigabit. Choose which one you want. That was great. That was. It really was.
Yeah, and it's because it's been there forever. And okay, so yes, when he says mom and pop, he missed the mom and pop stuff, and just having competition in general. And matter of fact, coming full circle to the Adobe thing, and one of the reasons why I ended up just completely cutting out doing the life after Adobe cutting the cord thing, and just cutting the cord with Adobe and getting rid of it. Obviously it's crap. I'm not going to pay in perpetuity for something and all that stuff. But the major problem that I have is the same thing as what he's saying here. It has to do with having the inclination to move forward, to move ahead. And what would happen was once Adobe went to that subscription model, they were no longer inclined, right, to improve their software. They could just simply iterate instead of innovate. And once that innovation died, at that point, it's really time to move on. So because they're getting paid anyways, it doesn't matter. Like I said, you're paying in perpetuity forever. So they don't really need to do anything stellar to force you or to give you the inclination to purchase their new version. Whereas back in the day, we would have Suite 5.0, and then they would say, well, Suite 5.5 just came out. And these are all of those niceties, all of those great things that you're going to get if you upgrade. So they had to give you a good reason to upgrade. So that means that they had to constantly reinvent themselves and make better crap, until they started this whole subscription thing. And now it doesn't matter. And that
Yeah.
is with everything. If you are on a subscription model, that software will not be as good as if they have to somehow coerce you into buying an update. Period. End of story. That's my personal opinion. You know? What say
Yeah,
you?
I
What do
can't
you
agree
think?
more. Can't agree more, man. I really
Yeah?
can't. One of the last bugs I had on Photoshop, I don't know if I told you this one, but it would crash when you click on the save button. I mean, I can't think of anything worse than having a bug that crashes your system out when you click on save. I had it for weeks. It actually stopped me doing any work. I had it for weeks. And I get updates come out. It's like bug fixes. And I'm like, what bugs are you fixing? Because I'm not seeing my bugs getting fixed. Now when I had the standalone versions, which was the CS2, CS3, CS4, they were absolutely solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely solid.
I know.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
can't agree more. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, they don't have to do anything. They just simply just constantly just make the exact same thing.
what I like to say is if you're paying a subscription for a piece of software, you are also beta testing the software.
Yeah. No, yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
are, and you're paying to beta test the software. It's funny. This is a funny statement in here. We have Force Ghost. Jeremy says, "I miss the good old days with dial-up of 2800 baud modems." And Ari says, "I remember the 2400 baud modems." And I
Mm.
wrote back in the chat. Now, you guys probably don't know it, but I've been doing this for a long time. I started out with an Apple II, Apple II Plus. I used to write an assembly code. I used to write EPROMs and burn EPROMs, and I ran a very large BBS, which is a bulletin board service on 16 1200 baud and 2400 baud US robotics modems for a number
Yeah.
of years. So like before, forums were out there, it was BBSs, and that's what I was the sysop of. I ran that for many years. Anyway, so that just shows my age, doesn't it? Holy shit. I shouldn't have done. Well, this is just a live chat, so we're okay. No one needs to know. But yeah. Then it went
You
up to
remember, you remember the days
5600.
when people used to shout up the stairs to me and say, "Can you get off the internet? I want to make a phone call."
Yeah, I
And you're
can't
never
believe that
gonna.
that would.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I can't
do
believe that
miss
would
the
happen for
classic.
you.
Yeah, I do miss the classic dial-up tone you used to get when you were dialing up onto the internet. I used
Oh,
to think
yeah,
really
bing,
good that
bing,
was.
bing, bong, bong, bong. And you hear
Yeah.
as you can hear the data going through. Those were good times. U.S. robotics.
Mm.
It was really good times. But anyways, listen, we need to get out of here. I really, really appreciate you being here. I appreciate everyone hanging out with us. I appreciate Stuart for being here too. I know
We need
he
to
was
do it
talking
more often.
about. I know he was talking about calling into
Mm.
Microsoft and all of this stuff, and I was saying that it was very hard to understand sometimes when you call into people over at Microsoft. I find it very, very hard to understand Stuart sometimes, and I have to work very hard to.
Yep.
But
And
but
I'm speaking slowly and politely at the moment. Do you want to hear me when the
exactly. If
microphone's not
not, I
on?
wouldn't know damn anything of what Stewart is saying. Right? But no, I'm just kidding. Because he actually speaks English proper and I don't. That's the difference. But listen, man, I really do appreciate you being on. And maybe we can do this more often. If people like
Yeah.
this, in the comment area below this video or this live, say that you like Stewart. You want to see him on here more often. And maybe get his ass to put me on his show. I mean, he's got like tens of thousands of people over there on his channel. So,
That will happen once I fix
oh
the issue
God,
that's
don't
under the
don't give
desk.
me nonsense like AT&T, right? And say the coming soon little thing that constantly pops up.
That's out of my hands. When it comes, it's when it comes. It's down to the company that's building the thing to ship it to me. But yeah, when it happens, it happens. You'll know when it happens. I'll send you a picture.
I want to see it. I want to see it. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, Stuart, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And like I said, if you guys enjoy these like live things in the comment area below, let me know. What do you think? What do you want the topics to be? Do you want it just to be like this, where we just kind of hang out and shoot the shit and not have to worry about anything? Just let me know.
Mowing about things and bitch about things and
Bemoan about this, that, and the
yeah,
other thing.
and
I love
help
that.
yourself
Yeah.
each other.
So Anyways, guys, enjoy your weekend. Many blessings to all of
Yes.
you. We will see you in the next
See
one.
you soon.
Take care, everyone.